There are few things that herald the coming of a Skaven claw pack more hauntingly than the mewling howl of an Abomination, the Frankenstein monsters of Hellpit and Clan Molder. And to get your grubby claws on one of these bad boys, you need to pay your weight in Warpstone. So, in what turned out to be a very close and brutal battle against the warriors of Norsca, it was time to unleash the ultimate enemy from below. 500 weapon strength, fantastic leadership, regeneration, and too horrible to die. The A-Bomb is that centerpiece unit that can completely carry a battle or drop a massive deuce on your chances of winning. But we're going balls to the wall here with the Skaven, bringing as much clan-specific goodness as possible, and we haven't seen a Screaming Bell in a long-ass time, so Clan Scruton has been kind enough to donate to the cause, where words of plague will echo across the battlefield alongside a wall of unholy sound, granting melee attack and leadership to nearby units. Still incredibly disappointed with the in-game bell sounds, though. Clan Scryer's Warp Lightning Cannons can be a great choice for sniping down mammoths, chariots, or any large Norscan monster, and it's rare I ever leave the deeps without a few rat ogres in tow. They're just incredibly versatile, super fast for monstrous infantry, hit like a Mack truck, and they can perform well as pseudo cavalry or extra beef on the main line. We have Stormvermin with halberds, plague monks, and a little extra spice to top it all off, a unit of Warpfire throwers. Warpstone Flame is a horrendous way to die, and there are very few Norscan infantry who can withstand consistent volleys from them. It's just their love of friendly fire hasn't been translated into Total War quite as well as I would have liked. But there is one more thing here, a gift from Clan Ashen, lurking in the shadows, a unit of Death Runners, and they are actually a huge component of this strategy. Now, a monster like the A-Bomb can be really useful, but a potentially disastrous pick against Norskins with all their bonus versus large monsters and missiles, so the Death Runner's job is to smoke bomb in from behind and slice up that backline of hunters. For the Norskins, I think going wide against the Skaven makes a lot of sense. 4 units of Warhounds can prevent a lot of routing units from rallying and run down skirmishers, and Marauders can more than hold their own against a lot of Skaven infantry. Fimir are just really good, able to combat most threats with that innate 22% missile resist, so Warp Lightning Cannons and Gutter Runners won't do much against them. And of course, Wulfrik, the Hunter of Champions, on his War Chariot, doing his best Sartha Ek impression, but looking like a flaccid weenie in the shadow of a god, the Ever Chariot himself, and a Lore of Fire Sorcerer, which is one of the best lores of magic against Skaven for extra damage against A-Bombs, bypassing physical resistance, and Burning Head, which will incinerate blobs of Ratmen infantry. So first order of business is get the Fireman the hell off the field, because Burning Head will be vicious. So with that 70 bonus for Large on the Warp Lightning Cannon, target him first. But there's actually a structure really close by where both characters can take cover from the storm, which was incredibly lucky for them, and we'll have to switch targets to something else because can't shoot through a wall, as much fun as that would be. Now, despite Fimir having that missile resistance, they're still far and away going to be the best targets to snipe down because they will absolutely carve a path through vermin. They're a big threat, and you don't want to waste that bonus for Large on Berserkers, so you will unleash the Warp Lightning Cannons, slice through the monsters from the mists, and take out a few unfortunate Zerkers before fizzling out. Norsca's wasting absolutely no time here. Strategy is very simple, honestly. Blood for the Skull Throne, rat meat for Chef Boyardee, straight into the thick of it, while Seafang and Burning Head will take out the Plague Monks. But we really want to focus down those Fimir, and we finally got one of them to drop. Zerkers leading the charge into the thick of it now, and Skaven Slaves, Squirt, and Fear Musk already. They're going to be dead in seconds, not to mention their own Warpfire throwers unleashing some flame into them for that extra bit of Ratmen encouragement. And that's what you want, right? You want to have Warpfire throwers firing into your own units while killing much higher value infantry, and we're getting a little bit of it there, but there's still some line of sight issues that make those Warpfire throwers not quite as good as I really think they should be at firing into their own stuff. But Plague Monks and Berserkers, actually those are Marauders, should be a stompy fight for the Plague Monks out on the left flank. And getting an overview here, we can see the Marauders, Berserkers all across the line have all committed. Fimir getting torn apart by those Warp Lightning Cannons despite their missile resistance, and the Hellpit, Abomination, and Stormvermin ready to receive the charge of all these Norscan Warhounds in the back, who will be trying to imbue those rear charge morale penalties, while Clan Ashen is on the prowl, heading right for the Hunters, and will slice them up with their Weeping Blades if they can get their claws on them. And here come the Rat Ogres, and this is just not fun for the Marauders at all. This was already a tough matchup for them with Plague Monks there. They weren't going to win that fight, but Rat Ogres will completely turn that into a lopsided one. And Hellpit Abomination has received the charge of those Norscan Warhounds, but here comes a Burning Head, and this is a perfect use for them, and why it is a great lore magic against the Skaven. You pin Plague Monks in place, you drop a Burning Head, and that entire unit is pretty much going to disappear in a single spell. And Skaven, especially with their summons, are very, very commonly getting blobbed up with a lot of their low armor stuff, and Burning Head's a great way to punish that. And goodbye to those Plague Monks. They'll get destroyed there. Marauders will actually end up winning a fight they had no business winning, while more summons will come out of the ground. But Seafang ripping out of nowhere here into the flank of the Plague Monks, and now 2 wind spells already been used extremely well. But in response, the Grey Seer of the Lord Plague will unleash his own very nice breath spell into the flank of a bunch of Marauders and Berserkers, and everything on the field right now feels like it's low armor, and they're getting jibbed by these very powerful breath and wind spells, and that's going to make a big impact for sure. Those summons will be able to zone out the Marauder Hunters, while the Smoke Bomb Death Runners will be able to come in from behind and start shutting them down. And Smoke Bomb has been popped now. They're going to close into combat, and this will be brutal. This is why Death Runners can be such an awesome utility pick. You just don't expect to see that. A full unit of assassins just show up behind you to slice through all your skirmishers. But the Ninja Rats of Nippon already doing something incredibly important right now, which is preventing those hunters from firing at the Abomination, who already had a field day smashing apart some doggos, and now it's upgraded to smashing through some Marauders, Warpstone Fists, Power Drills, and Steroid Injections all in one abominably adorable package. And for me, I'm not sure there's a more technically impressive unit in the entire trilogy than the Hellpit Abomination. Just shockingly well done, unnerving to watch those terrifying animations, and I love it. And Marauders don't have much chance of punching through them right now either. Warp Lightning Cannon unleashing some more shots, and Wulfrik the Wanderer on his chariot with a Sword of Torgold pop, that 75% weapon damage. Rat Ogre is trying to surround him, but they haven't been given a movement order that will allow them to surround him, so only a few models actually hitting him right now, and that's a bad engagement for them, because if only 1 or 2 Rat Ogres are hitting him, Wulfrik can chunk through that no problem whatsoever. Screaming Bell still providing that support, and just kind of bowling over a bunch of Berserkers who have routed. He's routed the left flank with his Terror there, and the Sorcerer has taken some damage. Spell looks like it's about to go down, but will get canceled, and as expected, a lot of Marauders running away from the Hellpit Abomination, which has taken over the battlefield over on the Skaven right flank, slamming down some more of those Warpstone Fists, Warp Lightning exploding everywhere. But the Fimir with great weapons are definitely a threat for the A-Bomb. We'll have to be very careful. Has that bonus versus large, but if they surround him, could chunk through him pretty easily. But the Grey Seer and the Screaming Bell still anchoring the pretty much now non-existent left flank for the Skaven. Rat Ogres on their last legs, and those summons not long for this world either. But the Death Runners still having a really good time. They're just really enjoying themselves this battle, and Marauder Hunters are a perfect target for them. Weaving Blade, I mean, lowering their armor, not really a big deal, but they've got the speed that will actually be able to let them shut down those skirmishers and catch them, which is important. But the Warp Lightning Cannon is getting some good shots at the Fire Sorcerer, who had just unleashed a Firebolt at the Screaming Bell, and with that shot, remember, 70 bonus versus large. Chariot really does not want to get hit by them, especially not if you're a Sorcerer Chariot. Not very tanky, and he's kind of like, no, I'm not really feeling it right now, man. I'm just gonna get the hell out of here. I'm gonna go home, and I think Wulfrik can deal with the rest of this battle without me. He's gone now. But that means Wulfrik doesn't have the support from the Lore of Fire, which is important, but Fimir taking a relatively decent engagement against the Hellpit right now. There aren't a lot of Skaven infantry nearby to kind of absorb their damage. Still though, it is a HPA, and that thing has 500 weapon damage, a lot of armor piercing. It can hit really hard, and the Fimir are taking a lot of damage as well. And they've just routed a Seafang, unleashed yet again by Wulfrik the Wanderer. That one wasn't a great cast, didn't seem to hit too much there. But honestly, there isn't really much Skaven infantry left on the field. Summons are really the only thing bolstering their numbers right now. Death Runners, they've done a lot of killing, but they've taken a lot of damage themselves. They will finally be able to finish off this unit of Marauder Hunters with Javelins. But in terms of the Skaven main line, what is there left? I mean, the Hellpit Abomination, the Warp Lightning Cannon. I'm not seeing any infantry except the summons themselves. Maybe a really low unit of Storm Vermin somewhere. But Wulfrik and the Hellpit Abomination going at it now, and that should be a really interesting fight. Wulfrik, a great duelist, but he is on his chariot, which is obviously not ideal for taking on big monsters. Screaming Bell has taken quite a bit of HP damage itself, but as it continues to bowl over all these Marauder Berserkers, seems to be having a relatively good time. And this is the most important engagement of the battle thus far. Eternal Challenger versus the #1 pet on Altdorf's Do Not Bring Home from the Shelter list, as the Hellpit Abomination and Wulfrik the Wanderer go at it. Berserkers overrunning the Warp Lightning Cannon crew, getting a couple more shots off, but they won't be long for this world. And we'll see the Shaman Sorcerer still noping the hell out of there, never to return. Ruinous Power is probably not too happy with him as he runs from the field. But Wulfrik the Wanderer takes one more attack, and he's running. But on that chariot, he's pretty swift of foot, and he'll actually gain some space. And he has not shattered yet, and there are actually quite a few Norscan units that are now rallying, and there's really not a whole lot left on the field for the Skaven either. Hellpit Abomination severely damaged now. Maybe only about 1,000 health left. He does have that regeneration, incredibly important, but it doesn't look like too horrible to die has actually procced, because he is below that 10% HP threshold, and he hasn't gotten that life-saving burst of hit points. So he didn't die instantly, but I'm not sure he got that health burst either. And so everything left on the field for both sides is severely damaged, and Death Runners are doing what they can to make sure that whatever these Marauders do, they don't come back to the fight. And they're very, very good for that. I believe they have 50 plus speed, which makes them insanely quick for infantry. Another Sea Fang rips through. Might have wanted to hold on to that, actually, because these are summons, and they would have routed anyway if he just let them degrade a little bit more. But what's left here? We've got a very, very damaged Hellpit Abomination, a very damaged Screaming Bell, Marauder Hunters, and a couple regular Marauders, a unit of Berserkers, and those summons are gone now. So just the Death Runners, just the Screaming Bell, just the Hellpit Abomination against Fimir, and some Warhounds and some Marauders. How will this one go? Well, it won't be good for the Warhounds, I'll say that. They don't want to be charging into the front of a Hellpit Abomination, but with them terror routing now, Wulfrik comes in, dropping Hunter of Champions on top of the Screaming Bell, but can't get his attacks off because the HPA's in his face, just kind of slamming that mass, that grotesque mass over and over again, tossing things around like ragdolls, and with those final few attacks, it will prove too much, and the Abomination will carry the day here for the Skaven, and really make a huge impact on that battle. Got 2 full chevrons, 88 kills, did a lot of damage to Wulfrik the Wanderer, routed him, killed some Fimir, prevented the Norscan Warhounds from getting good charges off in the rear. Definitely felt like a really good unit there, but a big part of it, honestly, came down to the Death Runners, just zoning out those Marauder Hunters with jabs, who, yeah, summons are a great way to zone those out, and it can be a little bit challenging to actually get those over the top of an enemy shield wall, and then summon them in the back lines, because the summon range on the Screaming Bell is very short. So the fact that those Death Runners did so much there, got their own chevron themselves, definitely really important that they were able to do that and come in from behind and be all stealthy. And Warp Lightning Cannon also did quite a bit of damage to the Sorcerer, made him rout, and that was a big factor as well. But for the Norskins, I mean, Wulfrik, 133 kills, beastly. A lot of those were on Rat Ogres too, which was interesting because you don't expect a Chariot to do that well, but it was a micro mistake on the Rat Ogre's part to not completely surround him. And the Berserkers and Marauders, honestly, I think this build in general, pretty decent one, pretty good one against Skaven, just because you go so wide. All this stuff is going to match up pretty well against Skaven infantry, but really fun one, really close. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Indie Pride, signing out for now.